welcome back. Want to remind y'all, I am on DTube now. If you don't have a Steemit profile set up, go to steemit.com, STEEMIT, fill it out real quick. You'll get an email confirmation. It takes a few days to get verified, but they're just making sure no bots get into their platform. And, like we know, a lot of channels are getting shut down every day, even people you wouldn't expect. So what's really going on here? And I do have a theory video I'm going to put out here later today on the shutdown. And is it just about censorship or not? Okay, so on this video, I'm going to go over a couple articles. This one's from NPR. It was left in the comments section, so thanks for leaving that. If you got information that you think I need to know about, leave it in the comments or get a hold of me on my Discord, and we can talk about it. And if it points us in a good direction, I'll definitely make content on it. So this one is about universal depression screening for teens. And, right now in the younger people's culture, it's cool to be a victim. It's cool to have something that's wrong with you. It gives them something to talk about. They're gaining their confidence from a weird thing there. And I think this touches on it, and it also touches on the expansion that these pharmaceutical companies are looking at so they can create more and more profits. They're trying to tap in deeper into this demographic. And they're going to continue to portray the population as victims, as having issues, as not being born the right way. And that's not true, gang. So let's break down this article and see what we have. Pediatricians call for universal depression screening for teens. February 26, 2018. Only about 50% of adolescents with depression get diagnosed before reaching adulthood. As many as 2 in 3 depressed teens don't get the care that could help them. It's a huge problem, says Dr. Rachel Zuckerbrot, a board-certified child and adolescent psychiatrist and associate professor at Columbia University. To address this divide, the American Academy of Pediatrics has issued updated guidelines this week that call for universal screening for depression. What we're endorsing is that everyone 12 and up be screened at least once a year, Zuckerbrot says. The screening she says, could be done during a well visit, a sports physical, or during another office visit. Zuckerbrot helped write the guidelines, which have been in development for a while. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force also recommends depression screening, and many pediatricians have already woven the screenings into their practices. Teenagers are often more honest when they're not looking somebody in the face who's asking questions about their emotional health, Zuckerbrot says. So most pediatricians use a self-reported questionnaire that teens fill out themselves, either on an electronic device or on paper. It's an opportunity for the adolescent to answer questions about themselves privately, she says. Well, we know. Look, we use the Socratic method when we're dealing with red pilling people. Q uses the Socratic method. It's really about how is the question structured. You can get different people to go different ways. You can manipulate this stuff, so you got to know what's in the questionnaire. That's my question there. Here I was watching this, a little bit of this. This is an ad. I've seen this ad on TV when I watched it. Kaiser Permanente, depression. Okay, so a yearly screening for children. This comes out right at the same time that around the gun talks. But they're bringing up the medicine, but they're not bringing up the negative parts of their medicine. They're trying to sell more pills and more screenings. And a company like Kaiser would definitely benefit from more visits every year. Okay, the questionnaires contain, and there might even be a government incentive here for the amount of questionnaires they get. Everything is there for a reason, and we start to learn how they work in the system and play in the game. Who knows what else is going on here? The questionnaires contain a range of questions. For instance, one version asks, over the past 2 weeks, how often have you been bothered by any of the following problems? Feeling down, depressed, or hopeless, or little interest or pleasure in doing things? Teens are also asked questions such as, are you having difficulty with sleep, either too much or too little? Any problems with eating? There's a lot of things. My big thing here is the world is not in a good spot. You can't expect people to be all hunky-dory, even though a lot of people are. There's plenty of distractions, but we've been in jihad for 17 years. The United States has been assaulted, and our culture's been assaulted for over 100 years. And nobody's talking about this stuff. All the instant gratification, it's all synthetic. It's fake, and it only provides temporary relief. And then like the reality of what's happening in the world starts to come back. It starts to come back to the top, but then it's suppressed with another episode of WWE or another music video or whatever the fix is. The new recommendations also call for families with a depressed teen to develop a safety plan to restrict the young person's access to lethal means of harm. Suicide is a leading cause of death for children aged 10 to 17, and adolescent suicide risk is strongly associated with firearm availability, according to an AAP report. There's growing awareness in the U.S. of the need for young people to have good access to mental health care, says Dr. Doug Newton, a child psychiatrist at Kaiser Permanente in Colorado. As a nation, this has become part of the dialogue, it increasing. People are aware of what's happening in our schools and the importance of mental health, Newton says. Kaiser Permanente has a stigma reduction campaign called Find Your Words. Well, there probably is a growing awareness in the U.S., and rightfully so. But the answer to this mental health care, maybe it's a problem here, could be found in diet, okay? Could be found in sunlight, could be found in the need for likes on Instagram. And the answer is not a pill, okay? If it's a pill and it's a chemical imbalance, there needs to be a blood analysis done. And look, they're not looking to do that stuff. They're looking to sell pills. And these doctors, are they really? What's their answer outside of the prescription? There's not much. It's parenting, it's access to love, it's unconditional love, it's diet, it's sunlight, it's getting away from the phone. I wanted to show you this, and I'm going to do a small breakdown on this spot and see who are they targeting here.
What you gonna do? Lift up your head and keep moving? Or let the paranoia haunt you? Everybody like confidence. Everybody like confidence. How many times our potential was anonymous? How many times the city make me promises? So I promise this. I'm gonna do it till I get it right. I went to war last night. I've been dealing with depression ever since an adolescent, ducking every other blessing. I can never see the message. I can never take the lead. I can never bob and weave. Give my story to the children and the lesson they can read. Dreams of reality's peace. Blow steam in the face of the beast. The sky can fall down. The wind can cry now. Strong in me, I still smile. I love myself.
So, throwing the rap in there, again, making depression, making victim mentality cool and popular. And it's just the kid walking around. He needs something in his hand. He needs something to do. He needs fulfillment in that way. It's like we're seeking the answers from the wrong people. If this is the road we're going to go down. So this whole idea, kid's so sad, but he came up with that great rap, man. Those rhymes. Doesn't make sense. All right. Stigma is a huge challenge, he says, specifically for adolescents. Oftentimes, they're not coming in to get help because of the stigma attached. It's not easy to talk about depression, yet the problem is fairly common. During the teenage years, there's about a 20% chance of having depression or anxiety, research suggests. It's highly prevalent, Newton says. The goal of the Find Your Words campaign is to help make depression easier for everyone to talk about. Another challenge to diagnose is that families often don't detect depression, or they confuse it for something else. Sometimes teens are acting out or misbehaving, Zuckerbrot says. They're seen as being hostile or bad, when instead they're really suffering from depression. Well, I don't know. I think there's so many things in just the culture alone, the consumerism culture we live in. If you watch 30 minutes of television, you're exposing yourself to 9 minutes, 11 minutes of commercials that are trying to sell you products that say if you have this product, you'll feel the way the people in this commercial feel. And if you don't feel the way these people in this commercial feel, something's wrong with you and you need a product to get there. It's deeper than stigma. It, like, the suppression of what we're supposed to be, what we can feel, from human connection, from fulfilling, from accomplishment, is being suppressed. We're being distracted from those things every day. And again, I look at this campaign as a chance for them to make big bucks, and create a generation and further this victim mentality into the culture. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Hooligan nailing it, or is he way off on this stuff? I will say, I know people definitely have different issues, and sometimes there are things that are necessary, but the idea that they think every child needs to be screened for this on a yearly basis, all right, they're not basing it off of the blood, the chemical imbalance, like I say. If it's a yearly basis, then they're expecting a change. They're expecting the system they have in place to continue to create more and more victims who need some sort of answer. 36 school shooters in school-related violence committed by those under the influence of psychiatric drugs. At least 36 school shootings and or school-related acts of violence have been committed by those taking or withdrawing from psychiatric drugs, resulting in 172 wounded and 80 killed. In other school shootings, information about their drug use was never made public, neither confirming or refuting it if they were under the influence of prescribed drugs. The most important fact about this list is that these are only cases where the information about their psychiatric drug use was made public. See full list below. And I'm not going to go through the full list. Okay, but this is the common theme. 36 of these noted, and the links are in the description, but what is this proof of, huh? How do you read into these links? If you're able to observe and discern information, what does this tell you? Medicines, they're not helping people. Not when psychosis is one of the top side effects of the medicine, and the psychosis ends up expressing itself in mass shootings and violence. We got to get away from bullying. I think bullying is a part of it. I think there's too much cell phone stuff. I think we got a lot of lazy adults who think that the answer is a pill, or they want to put it off on someone else. But let me know. I'm ranting a little bit here. This is about the teens needing to be, and it sounds like this is going to go into effect. It's already been happening in some pilot offices. This is a new regulation, so it's going to happen. And depending on how your kids answer those questions, depends on whether or not they go deeper into the process of gathering the right information and then eventually prescribing either therapy treatment in conjunction with a pharmaceutical treatment. And if you deny that there was something wrong with the test and not your kid, then you're making room for child services to come in. Okay? This is where they corner the parents. If we start getting into the real sick stuff, this is where it's going to happen. All right, guys. So we got to know what's happening in the schools, in the medicine, and ask the doctor. Are they aware of these statistics? Are they aware of these statistics? Are they doing their due diligence on a blood exam? And if they need to do it every year, what has changed from year to year? If the kid did fine on the chemical test, why do we need to do one the next year? It hasn't changed like that. Okay, so let us know what you think in the comments. If you thought this video was valuable, share it with someone else, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.